Welcome to Daily Truths with Dave Ahlman.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Daily Truths. I got a question for you this morning. Why is it that you live where you live? And you might be saying, well, I chose to live there. We found a nice location. It was close to the kids' school. I was close to my parents, or I was closer to work, or whatever it is. But doesn't it go deeper than that? Yeah, I think it does. The reading for today is found in the book of Matthew, chapter 2, beginning to read at the 19th verse. And this is what it says. But when Herod died, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Rise, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the child's life are dead. And he rose and he took the child and his mother and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea in the place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. And he went and he lived in a city called Nazareth, that was spoken by the prophets might be fulfilled. He shall be called a Nazarene. So as you remember, Mary and Joseph and Jesus were in Egypt. They were there for probably a year or two. And finally God said, okay, Herod's dead, you can go back to Israel. And so they go back to Israel, but Herod had his son. Actually, he had three sons that were reigning at that time. The other three sons he put to death, as you remember. He had three sons that were reigning, and one of them was this guy by the name of Archelaus, who was more of a nut than Herod himself, Herod the Great. And he was unstable, and so Joseph had heard a lot of negative things about him, and so he said, okay, we're not going to go back to Israel. We're going to go back to Galilee because that's what God told him to do in a dream. Now, what part of Galilee did he go to? His hometown. He went back to Nazareth, not only in fulfillment of prophecy, but maybe because he could find work there as a carpenter. As you know, he lived in Bethlehem for maybe up to 2 years. And remember, when the wise men went to see Jesus, they only saw Mary and Jesus. Joseph must have been at work. So now he said, okay, I had a good job in Bethlehem. I'm going to go back to Nazareth and I can get good work there because God has told me to go there. Now, here's the thing. Why Nazareth? Nazareth didn't have a good reputation. It was a garrison for Roman soldiers. It was kind of a crossroads. There was a compilation of a lot of Jews and a lot of Gentiles there. The reputation of Nazareth wasn't that good. As a matter of fact, when Nathanael heard that Jesus of Nazareth was the Messiah, he said, Nazareth? Can anything good come out of Nazareth? So anyway, this is where God placed them. He said, I want Jesus, my son, the Son of God, to be raised in a place called Nazareth. God had appointed it. Now listen to this. This is found in the book of Acts chapter 17, and this is Paul speaking to some philosophical men in a place called the Areopagus in Athens. I want you to listen to this. And this is Paul picking up in verse 26 of Acts chapter 17. And he made from one man, namely Adam, every nation of mankind to live on the face of the earth. Listen to this, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place. What? So what that is saying is God has placed you where you're placed. He's the one that determined where you would live and how long you would live there. It's the very same thing he did for Jesus, bringing him back to Nazareth. Wow. What an incredible thing. I remember when I lived in El Paso, Texas, and there was this precious lady there by the name of Mamie Davy, and she had grown up in El Paso. And so people would come there and live there for a while, but they'd complain about how dry it was, how it was a border town, all this different kind of stuff. And she told me, I've gotten so kind of used to that. I always tell people this, you know what? You got to bloom where you're planted. I love that. Where is it that God has placed you? What location? What address? What place? Here's the thing. God has placed you there because that's where he wants you to be. And you might be saying, well, what am I supposed to do in the place I'm living, whether it's in this apartment or in this house? And when will God move me? God may move you eventually, but maybe not. And so you got to ask the question, why has God placed me here? Two reasons. Number one, to glorify and honor God with your life. In other words, to live a godly life, to let your light so shine before other people that they might know that you believe in Jesus, to live a godly life there. But secondly, to honor God with your lips, to look for opportunities to share the gospel with people in your community. We moved here to Firestone some 6 years ago. And yeah, it was a nice location. It's on a cul-de-sac. But then I came to realize after I read Acts chapter 17 that God had placed me in this place for a couple purposes: to glorify him by the way I live my life, but secondly, to make him known with my lips. So here's the answer to the question: why has God placed you where he's placed you? Two reasons. Number one, to honor him with your life so that others might see that you believe in Jesus, but to make him known with your lips. So look for opportunities to share your faith. Pray for your neighbors that they might come to faith. My bet is that most of the people in your neighborhood, if it's like any other neighborhood in Arvada or wherever it is that you live, most of them don't go to church. Most of them don't believe. So God has placed you there as a missionary in behalf of Jesus Christ. When you leave your church, the sign might say this: you are now entering the mission field. And where does a mission field start? Across the street, your next door neighbor, wherever it is that God has planted you. And that is today's Daily Truth. Have a great day in Christ.
Thank you for watching Daily Truths with Dave Ahlman. Please like and subscribe, and remember to tune in Sunday through Friday for a new Daily Truth.